highly anticipated Indian Wells third-round match between Coco Gauff and Eala ended in disappointing, really heartbreaking fashion as Coco retired down 2-6 love 2 due to a left arm injury. Gauff won their previous match a couple weeks ago in the Dubai quarterfinals, only dropping 2 games. It was 6 love, 6-2. This match, of course, was very different. Coco didn't hold serve one time in the match. She had 4 game points at 2-1, and she had a 40-love lead at 2-3, but couldn't get over the finish line due to double faults or just errant forehands. Gauff, who finished the match with 7 double faults, noticeably went for a lot more on her second serve in this match, hitting it with an average speed of 98 miles per hour at one point.
The game was over. After leaving the game, Coco Gauff went to the net and spoke quietly with Eala. Gauff just told the world exactly what transpired at that net, but no one in the stadium heard what was said. And in just 1 minute and 3 seconds, it reveals more about these two players than any scoreline could. Do you think their rivalry will change now that you know what Eala said to Gauff at the net and all Gauff said about her afterward? Post your opinions in the comments section right now. Let's dive right in.
That'll probably do it, yeah. Well, that stinks. 2 of the game's brightest stars. You hear Coco Gauff apologizing. There's no need for that.
My arm is like going like this the whole time, so I'm sorry.
An apologetic Coco Gauff. That just speaks to her class. She is a one of one.
When Coco Gauff sat down for her post-match news conference at Indian Wells, someone asked her the question that everyone had been wondering about. What did Eala truly say to her when they met at the net following the retirement? There was obviously a moment there. It seems like both players were affected by the outcome of the game. Gauff had a sorry expression. Eala appeared worried, and after a brief exchange of words, they parted ways. Gauff gave a straightforward response. She claimed that Eala expressed her hope that she would feel better. Such things. Brief, sincere, human. There was no performance or drama, just one contestant checking in on another in a time unrelated to trophies or standings. And in a way, Eala's response and the brief, silent exchange at the net reveal more about her than any of the match's statistics, because it's simple to accept defeat with grace. Being truly nice after a victory is somewhat different, especially if you've been waiting 2 weeks to exact revenge on the player who just defeated you 6-0 in a prior match. However, there's a lot going on here, and it is all worth thoroughly unpacking. So let's take a step back and put the whole picture together. 2 weeks before to Indian Wells, these two at the Dubai Tennis Championships, players competed against one another. Gauff defeated Eala 6-2, 6-0. It's not a close game based on that scoreline. It's a shutout. That's the kind of outcome that goes viral on social media, with remarks about how far Eala still lags behind the world's top performers. Look, such remarks weren't totally incorrect at the time. That day, Gauff was the superior player. She was in charge. She had complete control throughout the match, and Eala was unable to break through. Therefore, most people anticipated a similar tale when the draw at Indian Wells came together once more. The same players, same outcome. When there is such a large disparity in quality, that is often how it operates. However, Eala seemed to have distinct intentions. She returned at Indian Wells with an entirely new strategy. In her own post-match interview, she talked about taking the learnings from Dubai and music, doing things differently, being more aggressive, keeping her focus sharper, playing with more intensity in her legs, in her movement, in how she controlled the tempo of rallies. And it started working right away. Gauff appeared to be up against a very different opponent from the very first set. The statistics provide a clear picture of the situation. 68% of Eala's initial serves were successful. She received 59% of the points. That initial serving. Against a 2-time Grand Slam champion and the world number 4, she created 6 breakpoint opportunities and converted 5 of them. Those are not fortunate numbers. 4 minutes and 39 seconds. These are the numbers of a player that entered the game with a strategy, carried it out, and discomforted her opponent right away. Gauff, on the other hand, was dealing with a physical issue from the beginning of the first set. During the game, she called the trainer, who treated her left arm and shoulder. Her proportion of first serves fell to 44.4 minutes and 59 seconds in the opening set alone. She made 7 double faults. When the second set began, she had already lost her serve, and the choice to retire was no longer shocking after the second game. It was only a matter of when, not if, it would occur. What matters most, though, is what Gauff stated during her news conference, the part that didn't receive nearly as much attention as it should have. She admitted that she felt terrible about leaving. She stated, "You never want to retire from a match." Then she made a specific addition. She claimed that because Eala was playing so brilliantly, she felt worse about it. She stated that she didn't want to detract from Eala's performance. Go back and read that. The athlete who had to withdraw from a game due to physical discomfort or an ailment that prevented them from playing, making sure her opponent received credit was her first priority during the news conference. Given that she didn't have to say anything, her statement is noteworthy and significant, coming from a 5-minute, 56-second golf player. She may have just discussed the injury, conveyed her regret, and moved on. Rather, she made it a point to inform everyone that Eala was playing excellent tennis and should be given full credit for it. Additionally, she made a statement that made it clear how much she respects Eala as a rival. 6 minutes and 14 seconds, she stated that rather than retiring, she would have preferred to finish the game and lose 6-0. Take a moment to consider what that means. The Grand Slam winner and 4th-ranked player in the world would have rather taken a total beating at Indian Wells Stadium than leave the match unfinished. Competitive pride is what that is. She made it even more important by framing it in terms of not wanting to undercut Eala's performance. She said, "I think she's going to have a great tournament," almost as an aside. That's hardly a cheap statement coming from Coco Gauff. That's a forecast from someone who is on the same court as Eala for almost an hour and witnessed firsthand what she is capable of when everything works together. The tennis world takes notice when the 4th-ranked player in the world says she believes you will have a fantastic tournament. Let's now discuss the larger background of this rivalry and why it has emerged as one of the most intriguing narratives on the women's tour at this time. Now, the head-to-head is 1-1. 2 games, 2 entirely different music outcomes. From the beginning to the end, Gauff was the better player in Dubai. Eala was so dominant in Indian Wells prior to the retirement that it appeared as though the game would end with an even more lopsided score than Dubai, simply the other way around. This type of swing indicates that neither player has fully grasped the other, therefore any future encounters between them will be truly unpredictable. And right now, women's tennis needs just that kind of rivalry. Not only is there a well-established dynamic amongst the top 5 players who are all familiar with each other's strategies, but there is also a rising contender who can enter the court 2 weeks after being defeated and deliver one of the most impressive performances of the current music season. Both players have the game and personality to keep the story going, and it's an engaging story. For her part, Gauff has continuously shown generosity in how she discusses Eala. After winning handily back in Dubai, she expressly complimented Eala for attracting new fans to the sport. She described the Dubai stadium as fantastic for tennis and discussed how Filipino supporters had transformed it into something like to a home audience. When they are playing each other, she says she understands why people support Eala and that she does the same. In professional sports, it's not usually the case that an established celebrity will show public generosity toward a budding star. Some players get defensive when they perceive a competitive gaining ground. Gauff has taken the opposite action. She has increased Eala's influence on the sport by using her own platform. Additionally, considering Gauff's enormous fan base being a significant voice in tennis discussions around the world, such support has a significant impact on how fans who may not have been paying close attention to Eala yet view her. The regard is equally sincere on Eala's end. She discussed how Gauff is a wonderful player who will always give you a hard time during her press conference following the Indian Wells match. She talked about concentrating just on what she could manage herself because you can't control how well your opponent plays. She didn't commemorate her retirement. She didn't take advantage of the chance to elevate the victory above what it actually was. Whether or not she was hurt, she accepted the situation. You don't break someone's serve 5 times by going 6-2. Mishap. It takes more than luck to keep up a 68% first serve percentage against a player in the top 5. That victory had a solid base. The actual execution took 9 minutes and 50 seconds. And Gauff took sure to publicly state as such, closing the loop on any narrative that attempts to downplay Eala's actions on that court. The next match is against Linda Noskova in the round of 16. And Noskova has sufficient experience at this level, is strong, and strikes the ball hard to be truly dangerous. Eala enters that match with something that is quite challenging to produce, but she is not going to make things simple in 10 minutes and 11 seconds. Momentum generated on real confidence, not simply outcomes. The kind of self-assurance that results from outperforming a Grand Slam champion on the biggest court at one of the greatest tournaments in the world, to the point where the champion goes out of her way to give you credit in her own news conference. Eala is now in that location. 20-year-old, ranked 31st in the world, and making her career debut in the round of 16 at Indian Wells, she told the world that she believed the tournament was going to become much more intriguing. It was an easy whisper at the net. "I hope you recover quickly." Such things. Nothing dramatic, nothing meant for the cameras. Just two individuals that value one another as nice people. Neither of them wanted it to end the way it did. However, the entire story lies in that brief moment at the net. When no one writes about her, it reveals who I am. When the match has ended and Gauff has nothing more to prove, it reveals who she is. It also indicates that this rivalry will be worth keeping an eye on over the coming years because, while the tennis itself is fantastic, the players are even better. Coco Gauff revealed more than just what Eala posted online. She explained to the world how she saw this rivalry and where she believes it will go. To be honest, it's difficult to disagree with her. Click